We are back with yet another episode of the Between the Hashes podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network. As always, joined by Braden Bankin and myself, Dawson Livingston. As we start out every episode, we always ask the fellas, Brock Bierman not here, but we ask how everyone's doing. Braden, how you doing?
Could be worse, could be better. Niners got embarrassed in a game of the week, which we'll get to that at some point. But, we're kind of at that point in the year where it's like, all right, the trade deadline's passed. We know who's good. We know who's not. We're just kind of seeing how the cards end up folding as far as the last few wild card teams.
Yeah, and I was unable to be in last week's episode, obviously, but I tuned in for the first little bit, and you guys crushed it. Big week last week with the trade deadline ending on Tuesday, and Braden and Brock did an awesome job recapping all the trades. A lot of blockbuster trades that I was very upset I was not able to give my formal opinion on. But nevertheless, we are here back recording another episode. Week 10 is now in the books, which is, again, I say it every week, but it's absurd that we're this far into the season already. But yeah, there's a couple games we're going to hit on, but the main topic that we're going to start with is Brian Daboll is out as the Giants head coach. He is fired, no longer going to be running the offense, being the head coach for the New York Giants. Braden, you've already released your thoughts on this move on our social media platforms, but by the way, make sure to watch it. It's on Instagram, it's on TikTok, it's on Facebook, I believe.
It dual posts Instagram, Facebook, and then it's on TikTok as well.
So yeah, make sure you're watching if you want Braden's full thoughts. But Braden, what are your thoughts on this move?
I feel like it kind of speaks for itself. You're 2-7. Yeah, you brought in Dart to try to be your last second Hail Mary to save your job, but it hasn't really worked out, whether that be Dart's fault or Daboll's fault. But you look at these like coaching decisions. When you're watching the game, it's head scratching to say the absolute least. So I'd say even if Dart was like fully healthy the full time to be playing these games, I still don't think there's a world where you could keep him around. Thought maybe he'd stick around to the end of the season, but I guess what better time than now.
Yeah, honestly, this move was not on my bingo card. I did not think Daboll. I knew he was on the hot seat, but I figured that Giants ownership was going to give him till the end of the year, especially with Dart under the helm being a rookie. But no, decided to can him after week 10. The second head coach, I believe, to be fired this season already. Brian Callahan, the Titans coach, was the first one to fall, 4 or 5 weeks ago already. Mm-hmm. And now we have the move of Brian Daboll getting fired from New York. I know I'm going to put you on the spot here, but what are some names that come to mind when you think of potential Giants head coaching replacements? Anything that comes to mind?
They could maybe see about the Bills offensive coordinator,
Joe Brady,
pipeline again, see if Joe Brady wants the job. People are going to float John Gruden up there just because he's kind of put himself back into the good graces of the media. Is just a face that everybody wants to see back in the NFL again. I don't know. It feels like a lot of the same people that would be like, all right, maybe he could take this job, but it's also like, would they rather just go coach at the LSU or the Penn State college ranks, or do they want to take a shot at the team with a rookie head coach or rookie quarterback? How about it? And you have the primetime lights in New York. I don't really know. We'll see. It's going to be some name out of left field that we've never heard of before, almost certainly.
So I have the list of odds for Giants' next head coach. Now, take these with a grain of salt when I say these odds, because some of these are kind of wild. But the top 5 coaches with the highest odds to get this coaching job, the favorite is Mike McCarthy at plus 700. Trust me, these names get better. We have Clint Kubiak at plus 800.
Okay, I could see that.
Steve Spagnuolo at plus 900, which I don't want that.
I think he would rather die than go coach the Giants again.
Yeah, Lou Anarumo, the old Bengals DC, and now I think he's with the Colts.
He's the Colts DC right now, yeah.
And then to round out the top 5, Brock's boy, Mr. Cliff Kingsbury at plus 1,000.
Man. There truly are only like 4 coaches in the NFL.
Yeah.
They just keep getting hired and fired.
Yeah. Other names on this list, Mike Kapka, who's the current interim coach, so maybe they give him the full-time job. Jesse Minter, Jeff Hafley, Antonio Pierce, Todd Monken, who is the Ravens OC. Does that sound right?
That sounds that sounds right. I couldn't tell you for sure.
Your boy Big Bob Sala, Lane Kiffin, Mr. Gruden, and Brian Flores. Those are kind of the names that are being thrown out there right now. It's a big list, but I don't think there's any shoe-in for this job by any means.
No.
So that'll be something to keep our eye on. Obviously, when we get to off-season talk, we'll have a better idea of who the next head coach of the Giants is going to be. It is interesting. This is the 3rd straight time the Giants have fired their head coach, but have kept the GM. Like they haven't cleaned house on, like they haven't got rid of the GM and the head coach in the same rotation, which hasn't really worked out thus far. I mean, the Giants haven't really been playoff relevant. I know they made it 3 or 4 years ago with Danny Dimes, but they haven't been true playoff contenders since Eli. And Eli's been retired for 7 years now, it feels like. So yeah, that's going all the way back to like, oh God, before Joe Judge. Was it Pat Shurmur?
I think so. I tried to like look up the names of the previous. It could be McAdoo, I guess.
Yeah. For Ben,
I tried to.
It's not Bob.
Not Bob McAdoo. I don't think Bob McAdoo was the coach of the Giants.
Ben McAdoo. I was close.
I tried to look up the names because I think I saw that stat as well before I recorded that Daboll video, but the names escape me now.
I'm getting my brain prepped for an NBA episode immediately after this. So Bob McAdoo, just that name popped in my head. Ben McAdoo. That one was a kind of a deep pull. So apologies there. But yeah, I mean, that nothing really else to talk about like outside of the games this past weekend, unless you can think of anything, Braden.
I mean, not really. It was kind of all the big news already happened. So this was kind of just letting the dust settle and just come back to normalcy.
Yeah. You're gonna start with Thursday Night Football. Primetime Dud is what the title of this episode might be. But both primetime games, Thursday night and Monday night, both offensive shootouts. If you're an Iowa fan, if you're a fan of any other team, this is just nasty football. The Broncos win against the Raiders 10-7. It just a nasty game. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch most of the game because I was at work, but I did catch some of the highlights and did see some of the stats. Do you have any thoughts on this game, or is this game is pretty gross?
This is a game. This game will be. This is the one that come like 8. I feel like I've said this 8 times already this season. This will be the game. April 5th or something. Like we're past the draft. Well, maybe more like May, June.
Yeah.
But like past the draft, not quite to like OTAs. Just the dead point of the offseason. Not a whole lot going on. This is going to be the game that all those like NFL aggregate accounts that just are dying for 5 likes on Twitter.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, take me back to this game. What I wouldn't give to see a 7-10 slobber knocker.
Yeah. Yeah, this game was gross. I mean, I have the stats pulled up again, but it's like Geno was 16 for 26, 140 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick, sacked 6 times. From the few plays I saw, and correct me if I'm wrong, it just looked like Geno had no chance to throw the ball like ever. Like Tyler Lockett, for what it's worth, had an okay game for it being 2025, and Tyler Lockett being on the second team this year already. He was with the Titans earlier this season.
Yeah, like I mean, he started. He was on the Seahawks, got cut.
Yeah,
now he was on the Titans, got cut. The Raiders really are just trying to do like the 2022 Seahawks thing, which
I tell you what, you look at some of these names on this Raiders team, and it's just like if this team was in 2019, good God, they have Devin White on their team. They have Jamal Adams, who I always forget is on this team.
Is playing linebacker for some
Yeah.
reason. We always made the joke, but now he's actually just doing it.
Yeah. And I don't know. Some of these names I see on this team are just like actually absurd. Like Jeremy Chin. Jeremy Chin was good with the Panthers.
Madden 21 legend, Jeremy
Yeah.
Chin, man.
I
might
mean,
have my year wrong there, but
Eric Stokes, Madden legend. Like you just look at this roster and it's just like
this team would have been actually goated on Madden 22.
yeah.
But unfortunately, it is real life, and also, what is that, like 40 something days from 2026?
Yeah.
So,
And they even have like on the offensive side, they have Raheem Mostert. We haven't heard much of Raheem Mostert in 2 years.
He had a couple good games with the Dolphins. And then they brought in A-Chain to just do his job.
Yeah. But yeah, you could tell this game is not much to talk about if me and Braden are just talking about the Raiders roster and just all the names that are just still on this team. Somehow.
We're 11 minutes in and we're reminiscing about Madden 22. That's where this game has led us to.
I do have one Raiders question for you before we talk about the Broncos in this one. It sounds like they're going to move off from Geno and Pete Carroll for next year. Does Pete Carroll make it through the season?
Make it through the season? Yes.
Does Geno make it through the season without getting benched?
Well, to be benched would be a head coach job, and I don't think Pete Carroll would really care.
True.
As far as like letting the young guy go out. Young guy is in probably Kenny Pickett, Aiden O'Connell, whichever one of those two. If he knows he's probably axed anyways, he's like, screw it, let my boy rock for another 3 games. Why not?
Yeah, I've already seen some of the things that Pete Carroll's probably going to leave the Raiders. It's just this whole thing has just not really worked out at all. It all started back when they traded for Geno Smith back in March. It's like Geno's okay, but Geno needs a lot of help, and that Raiders O-line is really bad. Like, and
no, like the fact that the Seahawks have been so good without Geno and Geno's out here just floundering in Las Vegas. Like, it really proves how misplaced everybody's stock was in the Seahawks. Because we all thought they'd be like cooked. And now they are a top 5, possibly top 2 team in the NFL right now. And Geno, who everybody was singing his praises on that Seahawks terrible offensive line, but now he's in Las Vegas and can barely hit the broads out of a barn.
Yeah, this team is just an absolute mess, and it's. I think it goes back to I don't like taking running backs this high. I'm not to throw any shade on Genty, but it's tough to justify a pick of Genty when the pick I think immediately after is Armand Membu. And Membu's actually playing really well with the Jets. So I don't know.
It's the thing that gets brought up, I feel like, all the time, where running backs are ceiling raisers, linemen are floor raisers as far as the running game goes. Because you can have a running back that can run for 200 yards a game, but he's not going to get those 200 yards if he's getting hit, if he has more yards after contact than yards in a season, which I don't know for sure if that's quite what it's led up to, but there have been multiple games this year where Genty has more yards after contact than yards, which you just cannot have that happen.
Yeah, and I don't know. There was a couple good linemen that went before, like Will Campbell. We haven't said a word of Will Campbell since the entire season for us on the pod, and we just mentioned Membu's name. You don't really hear much from the O linemen when they're doing good. You only hear stuff when they're playing bad. But when you have like just an atrocity of an offensive line that the Raiders have formed, you're not setting Genty up for success whatsoever.
There's a reason why you probably know Alex Kappa's name, and it's because he is atrocious at the sport. Going back to Will Campbell, I do want to give him another shout out because, I mean, he got mauled by Myles Garrett that game, but outside of that, which, I mean, it's Myles Garrett. Everybody gets mauled by Myles Garrett. He's been one of the better tackles in the NFL this year. So shout out to him.
Yeah, and we can't wrap this game up without talking about Denver. Denver does move to 8-2, undefeated at home, that home field advantage is going to mean something. And the way that they're going right now with the record, could potentially host a playoff game, maybe 2 playoff games. Both them and the Patriots and the Colts, I believe, sit at top the AFC with an 8-2 record. But I believe the Colts have the head-to-head over Denver due to
The
the leverage
leverage.
earlier in like week 2 or week 3 of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I have my question marks about Bo Nix, but I tell you what, I don't have question marks with Denver is this defense. This defense is unreal. Like, you just look everywhere and they just have playmakers. Like Talanoa Hufanga, who I haven't really heard much from since he was with the Niners last year. Had a big game, had a sack, had a TFL, led the team in tackles. Nick Bonito is looking like the best bargain pass rusher from where they paid him. And Nick Bonito's balling out right now. You still got guys like Pat Surtain, obviously. Alex Singleton, who is he the one that had the
I can't say for sure.
yeah. But then even the rookie this year, Dahide Barron, who's kind of their nickel corner, has been playing really well, but they just look really good. They look like they could potentially make a run, but I still am gonna have my doubts and my questions about Bo Nix. Anything else you want to add on this game before we move on?
I mean, not really. It was a game that happened, and I can't really say much more about it. The Broncos keep winning. I can't say I've been watching a whole lot just because there's it. I don't. It feels like every game that I see the Broncos on, it's either like I'm not getting it for whatever reason, or just like there's so many other games going on, and they are going against like the Raiders.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I really care? No.
Right. There is one piece of news that I want to mention before we recap some of the other games this weekend. Travis Hunter did get ruled out for the rest of the year. So that two-way experiment that Jacksonville was trying is going to have to be put on the shelf for at least one more year. I want to know your thoughts on Travis Hunter potentially playing both ways in the NFL. Do you think he should go back to just playing one side of the ball? And if you do, which side of the ball do you think he should play in the NFL?
I mean, yeah, it feels like we've been frustrated this whole time about his usage, and even with that small usage, he still managed to get himself hurt, and now he's out for the year. So I think that pretty much goes to show you cannot play both ways in the NFL at 100% and stay healthy long enough to make a true impact. So I definitely think he needs to pick a side. Which side he picks, I don't think really even matters, because I think he will end up being a top 20 either side pretty easily. So it's kind of just a matter of where does his heart land? Like, what does he think? What side does he love more, I guess?
Yeah, I don't want to call this a failure by any means of Hunter going both ways. But it's going to have to pay off next year because the Jags moved a lot of draft picks to try to make this happen. And it wasn't that long ago they were sitting at what, 4-0, 5-1, something like that.
Yeah, they were like a top 5 team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like they had just beaten the Chiefs. Like they were,
and now they're
losing to in the most improbable ways imaginable.
Yeah, and that draft pick belongs to the Browns, so the Browns could potentially be looking if the Jags keep floundering, which who knows if they will. We still have a lot of football games left, but the Browns own their first round pick, and I believe also their second round pick. I could be wrong on that, so
I'd have to look at the package, but
yeah,
either way, losing that first round pick,
hurts.
If you don't make the playoffs this year, that's like catastrophic.
I agree. We might as well talk about that game that the Jags ended up choking. Texans beat the Jags 36-29 with helps to a 26-point fourth quarter. Is that what it was?
It was a lot of points.
I want to get the correct stats, so I'm not incorrect. I think it was 26 points. It
Un segundo.
was. The
26.
the Jags were up 29-10 entering the fourth quarter. Jags did not score in the fourth quarter at all. And Davis Mills, who would have thought we'd be talking Davis Mills in the year 2025? But he balled out.
We're back to talking about 2022 players again.
Yeah. I mean, this is a guy that I almost wanted to give my player of the week nod to. I always I picked Mac Jones early in the year when Mac first won a game against the Saints. Not really impressed with the Saints, but like anytime these backup quarterbacks can come in and just like automatically like start balling out, I think it's super impressive. Like Davis almost had 300 passing yards. He had 2 passing touchdowns, had a rushing touchdown as well, and was so key in the Texans comeback in the fourth quarter. What are your thoughts on this game as a whole? Is it panic time for Jacksonville?
It's hard to ring that panic button, but at the same time, like we said, Travis Hunter's out for the year. You do get Brenton Strange back either like this week or next week soon, which will help that passing game. You've been relying a lot on Parker Washington to try to get you some production up in the middle of the field. You traded for Jacoby Myers, which hopefully will help replace Travis Hunter for the rest of this season. But yeah, man, this team is just not the same as it was to start. So you got to find a way to lock this team back in, get them back to playing how they were in September, October. Because I mean, you're in the same if I'm not mistaken, you're in the same division of the Colts. So you're not guaranteed to just go win this division or anything. So if you don't win 11 games, you're probably not making the playoffs.
No, and I get it. They don't have Brian Thomas Jr. didn't play. And obviously Travis Hunter's out for the year. And they just acquired Jacoby Myers, but it was his first game with the team. So I'll give them a slight pass, but like these weapons.
The thing is, those guys will help you get the lead.
Yeah.
Like, you got the lead. That's not the problem. The problem is you lost it.
Yeah.
That's on the defense, which this defense looked elite to start the year.
Right.
What happened to Devin Lloyd? He looked like he was going to win Defensive Player of the Year at some points, and he's been like silent pretty much since then.
Yeah, I mean, he had that huge pick 6 against the Chiefs on the 1-yard line to give them the lead in that game, and it just kind of feels like this entire defense since that point has kind of taken a huge step back. And when you look, like, this defense has like good players. They have another Madden legend, Foyesano Lucan, like good middle linebacker. He's going to eat up a bunch of tackles. Devin Lloyd, who played really well at the start of the year, he's a good player. They acquired Greg Newsome midseason with the Browns a couple weeks prior, and he's a pretty decent corner. Josh Hines-Allen, stud off the edge, and then a first overall pick from just a couple years ago in Trayvon Walker. Like, this defense, there shouldn't be any reason that this defense is struggling as much as it is, because this team's invested a lot of capital into that side of the ball. But it just, I don't know, just these last 3 or 4 games for Jacksonville, and this was a team that I picked to win this division. It's just not looking good right now if you're Jacksonville. And then I think the growth of Trevor Lawrence, like, he just hasn't really progressed like the way we thought he was going to this year, at least the way I thought he was going to. I thought there was potentially going to be like dark horse MVP with Travis Hunter, but then you look at his stats. He's got just under 2,000 passing yards on the season, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and a QBR of 41.9. So he's objectively playing below average. Objectively.
Yeah, man. It feels like every time we think, okay, we're there. This is the time we're finally going to see this jump. It just like we expect this much of a jump, and then we get like a little bit. Like he's playing better than he has, but he's not playing at the level that he frankly should be for as much hype as he had coming out of the draft, having as much time as he had to develop, which give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. He's had a lot of coaching changes over that time, but I mean, come on. At some point, we have to see something, and we just aren't getting enough.
Yeah, because you mentioned it. He's had several head coaches, which could be a factor in why he's not playing the greatest. But like, I don't know. He still has like Travis Etienne, Brian Thomas Jr. when healthy. He had Travis Hunter for a little bit. He didn't even look great with Travis Hunter. Like, they still weren't really able to get him the ball as much as they should have. I don't know. He just hasn't played well. And I think, and maybe when we get to the offseason, we'll talk more about this, but I think we're going to see more teams hesitating with rookie quarterbacks or quarterbacks getting ready for their first huge contract of giving that first huge contract. Because we've now had a couple guys recently, Tua, Trevor, that just like, you don't know if they're worth that $50 million a year number, but you can't just let them walk. You don't want to lose a top 10 pick for absolutely nothing. So you pay him. It's a gross overpay. And now the Dolphins are looking at themselves like, we're going to need to draft a quarterback next year. Tua's not our guy. Maybe the same is the case for Trevor. But we'll have to see come the offseason.
I don't. I think a Tua comparison maybe is a little bit harsh for Trevor.
Right.
I feel like we've seen a lot more out of Trevor than we've seen out of Tua, but I get where you're coming from. We need to see this like top 10, at least top 15 play that I feel like we're just not getting for a guy who was coming in as the highest touted prospect since Andrew Luck.
Yeah, it's just, if you're a Jags fan, look away right now because your team's stumbling right now, and that's just not good. Not good for any parties involved, unless I guess you're a fan of anyone else in the AFC South. Then it is good for you.
If you're a Colts fan, you're having the time of your life right now.
Right. Moving on to another kind of surprising game that we saw this past weekend. The Dolphins, kind of out of left field, like annihilated the Bills. Like, this game wasn't particularly close. This game was, I think, 23 or 20-0 before the Bills ended up scoring.
Yeah, it was like 26-0, something like that. And then they had that Keon Coleman touchdown.
Yeah, does this say more like the Bills just like dropped the ball, or does it say more that like Miami just had one of those games where they just had a good game plan and was able to figure Buffalo out?
Honestly, no, I'm going to give the shout out to Miami here. I mean, I think everybody pretty much wrote them off as like, oh, well, McDaniel's going to be fired. Tua's not the guy. This is a wash season. Try to nail your pick of the draft. But give them credit. I mean, they had the game plan to stop the Bills' offense, and they did that well. I think when you look at the stats, when James Cook doesn't have a good game, the Bills don't have a good game.
Yeah.
And they managed to stop James Cook, and the Bills suffered because of it.
One thing I noticed, and I'll talk Miami first and give them their flowers because they deserve it. They played well this game. Devon Achane, another guy that almost could have won Player of the Week for any of us, which we'll get to later in this episode. He balled out 22 carries, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was the anchor for the Dolphins this game. Huge reason why they won. I want to talk about the Bills in this game. There's something up with Buffalo. And I know the week prior they'd beaten the Chiefs, and I know I wasn't here to get made fun of, but the Bills, they flat out beat the Chiefs. I will fully admit it. It just seems like something's off. Like you mentioned it, when James Cook, he's not able to get it going, this offense is just dead. This receiving core just has like no juice. Like, no offense to any of those guys in that room, but like they're asking like a guy like Khalil Shakir to be a number one. Who knows if he's really a number one at this point in his career. Keon Coleman's had the biggest roller coaster season, I think, of any receiver in the league, where week 1 he looked unbelievable and then had bad game, good game, bad game, like just has been super inconsistent for Buffalo. And then with Josh, like, he did win the MVP last year. He did play great last year. And I know they've simplified this offense quite a bit with less deep shots down the field. And it's just like, hey, we're going to ground and pound. We're just going to ball control. Josh Allen's going to have a Superman play every once in a while. But Josh Allen, when his first few years in the league, he had a turnover issue. And we didn't really see that last year. Josh Allen's had quite a bit of turnovers this season. I think almost double the amount of turnovers that he had all of last year. He has up to 5 interceptions on the year thus far, and I think he's lost. Oh God, was it 4 fumbles? I think last year as a whole he had um was it 5 turnovers? Let me fact check myself before I start
But I mean,
talking too
whatever that
much.
number is, I mean, you're right. Josh Allen just does not look like the Josh Allen that we kind of got accustomed to after those first 2 years. And I think a lot of that can be kind of put on the shoulders of he does not have a dominant like X wide receiver. I mean, they're like you said, they're asking Khalil Shakir to be Stephon Diggs, and that simply is not a formula for successful football. And again, like you said, with Keon Coleman, he's had games where he looked like he could be that guy, and they had games where he looked like year one, year two Quentin Johnson. Like it's
You want to talk about a guy that's fallen off as the season's gone on? Don't get me started on Quentin Johnson.
Bro's back. Bro is back, and not in a good way. But yeah, I mean, they really needed Keon Coleman to take that next step to become their alpha dog wide receiver one, and we just have not seen that on a consistent enough basis to truly give him that award.
Yeah, and I know Buffalo was in the market to acquire receivers. I know that the rumor was that they offered a first-round pick for Jalen Waddle, but the Dolphins said no. Dolphins weren't willing to move on from Waddle quite yet.
I think I saw that report as well. I think they were like close to doing it. I think the Bills offered a 2027 first, but the Dolphins declined it because they wanted it to be a 2026 first.
Yeah.
Which is stupid because, I mean, if you make that trade, get Jalen Waddle to the Bills. Mm-hmm. First of all, you're trading him to a conference division opponent, which is beyond idiotic.
Not just conference. That's with your play Waddle twice a year.
That is cardinal sin number one.
Yeah.
But also, the 2027 draft class looks like it's probably going to be better than the 2026. Which it feels like we say that a lot, but when you have guys like Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, all the other names that aren't really coming to my mind right now, but that draft class looks like it's going to be better than the 2026 class.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Buffalo's a weird team because they look so dominant against Kansas City the week prior. And then to have a game like this, and teams have these kind of games, the NFL is super hard. Like, these teams are really good for a reason. Like, I don't know. So I'll give them a little bit of slack, but to lose to the Dolphins by 17 points, I don't know. And another note that we haven't even mentioned is they're like falling back enough in the division where it's looking really difficult for them to win the AFC East right now.
Yeah, because the Patriots have the tiebreaker, and I think they're a full game back anyways.
Yeah,
maybe even 2 by now. I don't have the record on me, but yeah, I think the Patriots are 8-2, and the Bills are they 6-4 or are they 7-3?
Bills are 6-3. They've had their bye.
6-3. They had their bye, right?
Yep.
But I mean, yeah, they gotta. I really don't even know what they have to do. They just need to get consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just they're a weird team. They play up and down to their competition sometimes, and they have some head-scratching games, but like this one against a team we all thought was done, the team that had traded players away at the deadline, including Jalen Phillips, for them to fall on their face like this it's pretty odd. Pretty odd.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to talk about our game of the week picks for week 10. One of the games we had was Patriots-Buccaneers. Patriots win this one by a score of 28-23. Patriots looked really well rushing the ball in this game. Travion Henderson finally had that breakout game that I think a lot of people have been expecting from this entire year. I mean, we're talking about a guy that was so highly touted and sought after in the draft. The Patriots took him in the second round. to eventually be their bell cow back. And he looked unbelievable. A lot of these stats, though, I'm not going to lie, are carried by his last carry, which was a 69-yard breakaway touchdown. But nevertheless, still had a really, really good game for the Patriots, over 140 yards. Drake May, still balling out right now. Didn't have the completion percentage that he usually has, but still played really well. Does this say more about the Patriots being really, really good, or are we finally starting to see with the Bucs that the injuries are catching up?
I'm going to go back to my old reliable. This feels like a little bit of both. I think this Patriots team is, I think, better than a lot of people. Like, even I had a pretty good amount of stock in this Patriots team. I had them making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect them to be 8-2 with possibly one of the easiest schedules I've ever seen on the other side of this. On the other side of this week, they look like they're pretty easily going to take this division right now, which I don't think anybody with half a functioning brain saw coming. But yeah, I mean, on the other flip side of that, the Bucs, man, you need your guys back as soon as possible, and you're not getting them back as soon as possible. So yeah, Baker Mayfield started the year on an MVP track. He's going to have to find a way to kick it back into like sixth gear or something, because I don't even know what you can do to try to just thankfully there's not really a ton of competition in that division right now. I mean, I think the next closest team to them is like the Panthers, which I don't even know if we're going to talk about them this episode. That was an absolute disaster class.
Yeah.
But I like, you're still going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of, can you get your guys back fast enough to be able to win a game in January? And hopefully, maybe, we don't really have a lot of timetables for a lot of their important guys. So we'll see.
Yeah. You mentioned that Patriots, like their next games, they have a home game against the Jets on Thursday Night Football. They're at the Bengals. They're home against the Giants. They're home against the Bills. At Baltimore, which that might be their toughest game left. And then at the Jets, home Miami. Like, they have 2 wins just chilling on their schedule in the New York Jets.
Like, if they go any worse than like 13-4 with that schedule, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a disappointment for a lot of Patriots fans. And then you mentioned the Bucs, like they're probably still going to make the playoffs. They're going to win their division, so they're probably going to host a game anyway. Because I don't think they've played Carolina this year, or I think they don't play Carolina until December 21st, and then the last game of the year. So they no head-to-head advantage for Tampa Bay, but it seems like and it feels like Tampa Bay is going to pretty easily win this division, unless the frisky Panthers go on an insane run.
I don't know.
Hey,
it depends on what Panthers we get. Are we going to get the Panthers that beat the Packers? We're going to get the Panthers that just lost the Saints.
Hey man, the Panthers. The fact, honestly, if you would have told me before the season start, we'd be 10 games through with the Panthers, and the Panthers would have 5 wins.
I mean, that's insane.
Unbelievable.
That's frankly insane, but I think 99.9% of that can be put on the shoulders of Rico Dowdle having one of the most just out of nowhere seasons possibly of all time.
Yeah, the insanity run that he had when Chuba.
I mean, he went for 1,000 yards in Dallas. It's not like this, like,
yeah, true.
It's not like he was like a bench warmer in Dallas, but I think he's making less money than Eli Mitchell right now. So,
and you're talking, about Elijah Mitchell
steal.
Yeah, Elijah Mitchell has been a healthy scratch in every single Chiefs game.
Go ahead and take a look at that running back room. That's who he can't beat out right now. Which, shout out Eli Mitchell. I have a signed Eli Mitchell jersey in my closet right now. Yeah. Shout out the not UL Lafayette. I think just University of Louisiana now, but UL legend.
Louisiana, you're right. Yeah, I could spend the whole episode talking about the issues the Chiefs have and what they should or should not be doing, but you know what? I'll keep my peace because they did not play this week, so we will not talk about them. But yeah. Yeah, the injuries, I think I could be wrong. I thought Bucky Irving practiced today, and I thought Chris Godwin was potential to play this week. That's what I thought I saw from Rappaport today.
I thought I saw that they had no idea with Bucky Irving.
Let me see if I can pull up the tweet. And
I don't know for sure. I'm gonna do my fact checking as well. But if they could get Bucky Irving back, that would be huge because we've said it before in previous episodes. Rashad White has just not been that guy.
Bucky Irving and Chris Godwin were both limited participants in practice. So, like, they're getting closer to returning. Maybe not this Sunday, but maybe next week we could see both those guys on the field. Because right now, Tampa Bay needs it desperately for those guys to be healthy. This was one of our game of the week. So I will run down the scores of who picked what game and who got the win, who got the loss. I was the lone soldier that believed in Boston's own New England. I picked the Patriots 23-20. What was it? 28-23 was the final score. I don't think we've had a game where one of us has predicted the score exactly, which would be nuts. I don't think we've had that.
I got kind of close on Bills Chiefs last week, but not really also.
Yeah. Brock, who's not here, had Bucks 24-21, and Braden had 27-21 Buccaneers. So, yeah. We're climbing back. Our next game of the week pick that we're going to talk about, Braden, we're going to have to talk about this one for just a little bit, as much as you don't want to. We're going to have to. But, yeah, Rams beat the Niners 42-26. Good Lord. Matt Stafford. We're talking about a guy who's 37 years old, 36 years old, that looks like he could win the MVP at this pace. Rams looked just dominant all around, running the ball, passing the ball. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams both played really well. Kyron Williams had 2 touchdowns of his own. And then on the Niners side, Mac Jones had a decent completion percentage for whatever that's worth, 33 for 39. That's not horrible. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. The Niners just the entire season have not been able to run the ball just at all, which is just kind of been the reason why they're sitting at 6-4. I feel like if they were able to run the ball between the tackles, that maybe they'd have a game or two go their way. You're our honorary Niners fan of the pod. What were your thoughts on the Niners in this game?
I'm not having fun. Jake Rendell was back this week. He got hurt a couple weeks ago. Surprise, surprise. He came back. I don't know why they put him back in the lineup. He sucks. He's straight up not good. I'll call it how it is. He's not good. I don't know if we're still starting Connor Colby or not. He's been okay, which
Iowa legend.
I think Pooney's been hurt pretty much the whole year. Maybe he's been playing a little bit. Has not. If he has been playing, he hasn't been playing good enough. Trent Williams seems like he's more interested in picking fights with corners 15 yards down the field than he is actually blocking anybody. Don't even get me started on Colton McKivitz, because I'm going to say some words that Brock isn't going to like very much watching this back.
Brock's going to have to add beep sound effects.
Man. And that's just the guys that aren't hurt. There's been every player has been hurt pretty much at every position other than offensive line, and somehow the offensive line is still the worst part of the team. How? Keon White, I'll give him his flowers because he played really well. He's been playing really well since we got him. Has really honestly been kind of up to the billing that I kind of was giving him. Felt like I was the only one that actually liked that acquisition. He's been playing really well for us. We needed somebody to fill the Bosa role. He hasn't been Bosa, but he's been good enough. Our corners, I mean, Lenore hasn't really been targeted, so he's been fine. Green has had his moments. Upton Stout, Marquise Siegel.
Talk about some names.
Hang it up. Y'all are like 24. Dust off them resumes, dog. Upton Stout, you are 5'9".
Update the LinkedIn.
Playing, you are 5'9" playing corner. Not even 5'9". I think he might be even shorter than that.
Wait, who?
We drafted him in the 3rd round. We drafted a 5'8" corner in the 3rd round. John, what are you doing? This isn't 1995 anymore. I know you probably had some great teammates out there in Tampa Bay that were like 5'8" playing corner, locking down wide receiver ones. This ain't 1995 anymore. We got to guard Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, John.
Oh my God.
An undersized corner from Western Kentucky ain't getting the job done.
Oh my goodness, dude. That's so funny.
I kind of thought that a lot of our troubles would be gone once we got rid of Jake Moody. I really did. And our kicking woes have been done. Eddie Pinheiro, I don't think, has missed a field goal all season.
He's been balling out this year. I've been fantasy.
He won NFC Special Teams Player of the Week or month in October.
Yeah.
He's been incredible. The problem is we can't get into field goal range to actually use him. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
All the conversations we were having earlier about, is there a QB controversy with Mac Jones? He hasn't been playing bad. He's not playing good enough to win us games that actually mean anything.
Right.
Congratulations. You beat the Saints.
Woo.
Anybody other than like the Panthers and one other team. I don't remember who their Saints' other win is, but that's not like the games that Mac Jones has led us to victories. It's not Mac Jones leading us to victory. It's the rest of the team just playing Insano style at the clutchest moments possible.
The Saints have beaten the Panthers and the Giants. So
Panthers and the Giants. We beat the Giants by like 30 points. Just eyes closed. Thunk. Oh, some like 3 people are wide open. That was also the one game we could actually run the ball. The Giants' run defense is about as awful as everybody thought it was going to be, with all their edge rushers being like 240 pounds.
Yeah. Can I make one comment about the Niners? And you watch every single Niners game, so you will know if this theory is correct. It just feels like in the few games I've watched, feels like we're finally starting to reach the point with Trent Williams that he's not the dominant tackle that he once was when he first got to San Fran, and that he has been the last 3 or 4 years. Is that an invalid take?
No, that is incredibly valid. I got to pick my words carefully here. I don't want him to retire because he's still our best offensive lineman, but that's
do you want Jalen Moore back? Do you want the Trent Williams prodigy? Do you want him back?
I mean, you tell me, man. Has Jalen Moore been playing well for you guys?
It's the issue is the other side of the Chiefs O-line, particularly the right tackle, has been our big issue, Mr. Juwan. So Jalen's been okay. He hasn't been bad with Josh Simmons being out, but man.
So I mean, listen, we can work something out, I guess, if it comes down to it.
Yeah.
But Trent Williams, like you said, has not been what he has been the last 3 or 4 years. Feels like every year since like 2022 has just been kind of like a step down, step down, step down. We're getting to the point where he's costing us more yards than he's gaining us with his blocks.
Yeah.
And just shenanigans outside of the play.
That's how I feel about Juwan Taylor.
Juwan Taylor gets penalties because he holds and also just like jumps 5 seconds before the snap.
It just doesn't line up correctly, literally ever. Like,
right.
Even when he doesn't get called for it, he is always a half yard behind where he's supposed to be. It's always like the refs could theoretically blow a flag on it every single play.
Right. Like Juwan Taylor's got his own problems with his flags, Trent Williams flags come from him being 37 years old, picking fights with like practice squad corners that are like 23 years old, just
Yeah.
trying to make enough money to put food on the table,
Yeah.
15 yards away from the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't talk too much Rams. Just the Rams just kind of dominated this game, so there's not really too much to talk. Stafford looked really good, but yeah, me and Braden both picked the Rams to win this one. Brock unfortunately did pick the Niners to win this one.
Fool.
So thus far, you're 1-1. Brock's 0-2. I'm 2-0. Before we get to our last one, but our last game of the week pick, this game sucked. And I haven't gotten a chance to speak my opinion on this matter. ESPN, get this deal done. I'm tired of having to find ways to watch Monday Night Football. Didn't get to watch Cowboys Cardinals, which granted,
Maybe for the best.
yeah, but like I wanted to watch this one. I'm like, I'm not working tonight. Like, this could be a good game. Packers and Eagles, like probably two of the 3 or 4 best teams in the NFC going at it. Should be a good game. I go through all the effort to finally get the game, just for this game to be literally Iowa, Wisconsin. It feels like is what this game felt like. Eagles win this one 10-7. We did not see points scored until the very end of the third quarter with a Jake Elliott field goal. But did you also suffer and watch this game?
I like went. I opened up YouTube TV, and then I remembered I have YouTube TV, and this game's on ABC. And I was like, you know what, man, I'm good. I'm just gonna watch something else. And I just kind of looked at the score through the Real app or whatever, like
Yeah.
ESPN apps or whatever. And it got to like halftime, and the score was 0-0. I'm like, what is my app like bugged or something? Am I gonna have to sail the 7 seas to try to figure out a way to actually get the actual score to this game? But no, turns out neither offense wanted to actually show up today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add to this other than Packers fans seem to want Matt LaFleur fired for this. If that shows you how bad of a performance this was from the Packers.
Yeah, it just didn't look good, like, at all. Like, both quarterbacks had like costly fumbles. Jalen Hurts, I think it was like in the first quarter, the Eagles were driving on one of their first few drives. Hurts picks up a crucial first down on like a 3rd and long, ends up getting the ball punched out. Packers recover, and they run it back to the 40. Love has a pretty big fumble with, I think, he was trying to avoid a sack and kind of just like lost control of it. Jalen Phillips ended up jumping on it, but Packers end up not getting points there. But this was just nasty. It was just like, I'm mad at myself that I went through all the work to get this game figured out how to watch it, and then for it to be 10-7, and for the Eagles to probably should have lost this game. Did you see the last minute of the game?
No, I did not.
So I'm gonna give you a rundown of what happened, and maybe I'll give the audience a rundown as well if they didn't see it. Eagles have the ball on the 35 in field goal range, up 3, 4th and 6. You're thinking, okay, you can kick a field goal, go up 6 points. If you miss it, they're on the 40, so that's a little scary. You could coffin corner, you could pin him inside the 10. A lot of different options. What does Mr. Sirianni do? What does Mr. Sirianni's like, no, we're going for it. 4th and 8, we're going for it. Chucks it to A.J. Brown, incomplete pass. Packers have life with 27 seconds, and then obviously aren't able to get the field goal to go with Braden McManus. But could you imagine if they would have lost that game? Oh my goodness, I would have come onto this podcast and been so upset with the play calling and the decision making. Like, that game was over. The Eagles had all the timeouts. Packers had no timeouts with 20 seconds left. Shouldn't have been that close at the very end. And Sirianni's like, nah, we're just going to throw it on 4th and 8 to A.J. Brown, who has like 3 catches the whole season, it feels like.
That's accurate. I have him in one of my fantasy leagues, and that has been the worst pick of my life.
Yeah, like it just made no sense. And I don't want to talk about it too much more because the Eagles did end up winning, and that mistake didn't cost them the game. But it's like Sirianni, dude. What are we doing? We got to use our head next time.
Yeah, I think now that you ran down, I do remember everybody freaking out because McManus missed that long field goal. I think I saw the Packers have another kicker on their roster who has made his only attempt all season. It was from 61. So if you bring that guy out there to try it, I don't know how long of a field goal it was. I'm guessing pretty long. Longer than McManus's range, I suppose.
I thought it was 64 yards. 64.
Yeah, so and his one attempt was from 61. So you try that, see what happens. I mean, clearly trying it with McManus didn't work. Try it with this other guy. If that goes in, you're talking about overtime. And I think no matter what happens there, Nick Sirianni probably is lockout of the week, just based on allowing that to happen in the first place.
Do you want to hear the drive log of this game, and then we'll move on?
Oh, I would love nothing more. Give me the Big Ten West.
You ready? Punt, fumble, punt, 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 fumble, turnover on downs, field goal, turnover on downs, punt, punt, touchdown, touchdown, punt, fumble, downs, field goal, game. Nasty.
Cinema.
Nasty. I apologize to anyone that had to stay up and watch that game because that game was just gross. Or if you were like me and you have YouTube TV and you try to figure out ways to watch it. I signed up for a freaking Fubo TV's free trial.
Oh, you got the $5.99 day pass?
No, I just signed up for the free trial and I already canceled it. I just wanted to watch that one game.
You paid $0 to watch that game and you already want your money back.
I do, dude. That was ESPN. That was gross. That was gross.
Oh, man.
But
yeah, I don't know if I think Brock and I touched on this a little bit last week, but yeah, man, ESPN. I don't think I've ever seen a company's stock, media, how the media feels about them plummet more than I feel like I've seen ESPN's drop in the last 2 weeks, because everybody already didn't like them. They really were pretty much just there for the occasional game, and then programming that they already killed their best program in Around the Horn, I think it was, and their other programming has just been not as good as it really has been, should be, considering what ESPN is. And then for them to just strong arm YouTube TV, which I don't want to give any benefit of the doubt to YouTube TV either. I think both of these multi-billion-dollar corporations are greedy and should just kind of figure it out. But
they're acting like toddlers.
They are. They're acting like toddlers with their little toy fire truck and their toy police car, and Disney already has the police car. They want the fire truck, and they're crying about it because now neither of them have the fire truck because mom took it away because they were fighting.
Yeah. That
and now we as the dad have to suffer because we were enjoying watching our little children have fun, and now they're just being screaming little toddlers crying and having all of the media personalities on ESPN have to go right there. Okay, the word I was going to use I don't think would be appreciated very much, but have to basically grovel to the internet to try to give ESPN sympathy points. It's just not working. Yeah. Even then, we have even Pat McAfee. How much money is Pat McAfee making from ESPN? And even then, he's like, "All right, nah, this is bogue. We gotta put a stop to this."
Well, McAfee's lucky in the aspect of he still streams his show on YouTube, so you don't necessarily have to have a cable subscription or a YouTube TV subscription to watch McAfee every day, because he live streams the entire thing on YouTube every day now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, a name I feel like I wouldn't really expect to be giving a shout out to, but shout out Pat McAfee has somehow been the hero of this whole situation. Just
Yeah.
all around horrible optics for everybody. Just figure it out, guys. Quit being turds.
Well said. We're going to get into our player of the week power rankings, and we're going to look ahead to some of the games in week 11. We're going to start with player of the week, like we usually do. Braden, we're going to start with you. Why don't you tell us a little about your player of the week?
Listen, if you guys didn't know this already, Jonathan Taylor is like pretty good at this whole football thing. Pretty much has just been winning the Colts games just on his own. I mean, you can look at the stats as well here, but for audio listeners, 286 total yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, 7.6 yards per carry, and one of those rushing touchdowns was to ice it in overtime. Just absolute, like, I think the first 50 burger in fantasy this whole season. Like, I literally, as soon as this game went final and I saw Jonathan Taylor's full stat line, like, I think we mentioned this a couple weeks ago with our player of the weeks. I usually try to wait until like end of the Monday night game, maybe Tuesday morning, to be like, all right, who had the best overall performance? I knew by 3:00 sharp this was not getting topped, and I had to beat Brock to the punch because he stole my pick. He stole my pick when we mentioned that. I had to beat him to the punch for this one. I was not getting my pick stolen again.
Yes.
Because Jonathan Taylor, animal.
Yeah. Taylor's the runaway favorite right now for Offensive Player of the Year, and he's just unreal. He's having one of the best running back seasons I think we've ever had. Like up there with like LT, Sean Alexander, guys like that who won the MVP that year. We'll see. The MVP award's pretty wide open right now. I don't think there's a true front runner. I mean, you could say Stafford or Drake May, but
I think it should go to Jonathan Taylor.
if it's truly,
say what you will about the quarterback award, Jonathan Taylor is the offense. Screw a quarterback. He's the whole offense.
Yeah. Brock is not here, so he won't be able to give his thoughts. So I'll just kind of run down for him. Brock chose Danielle Hunter, the pass rusher for the Houston Texans. Hunter had 3.5 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, and 7 total tackles. He was the engine on that Texans defense. Him and Will Anderson are just so dynamic off the edge for Houston. And it's the reason why Houston has one of the best defenses in the NFL. But yeah, Danielle Hunter just absolutely balled out this week for the Texans, and it helped them get a win. So that's Brock's Week 10 Player of the Week. Here's my Week 10 Player of the Week. I went with DeMarcus Lawrence. I don't think, if you had asked me before the season, DeMarcus Lawrence would be my Player of the Week for any week. But he had like an Isaiah Rodgers-esque game from like week 3 or 4, wherever it was. 2 scoop and scores for DeMarcus Lawrence, which resulted in 14 points, which Seattle already was kind of blowing that game open. But Sam wasn't playing great, and those scoop and scores are kind of the reason that the game got the deficit was as big as it was for the Cardinals. Did have 2 fumble recoveries, did have 4 total tackles as well. Yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence, that Seahawks defense as a whole, we'll get to Seattle in a second, but Seattle right now is playing some of the best football in the NFL. So I feel like we had to give some love to the Seahawks. Back-to-back weeks for me to have a Seahawk as the Player of the Week. So, because I had Sam last week. So, that is my Player of the Week for Week 10. Now our power rankings for this week. Braden, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brock and I talked a lot last week when we were giving our power rankings how just impossible they were, because there were about like 10 or 11 teams that you could justifiably put in the top 5. This week, a couple of those teams ended up losing. Some of them played each other, but I would still say that this probably has about like 7-ish teams that you could probably justify. But these are the ones that I landed on. Keeping that number 1 spot is the Seattle Seahawks. They've looked dominant the last few weeks. Of course, playing 2 teams that haven't exactly had the best of seasons in the Commanders and the Cardinals. But any team in the NFL, when you can go out and curb stomp them the way that the Seahawks have the last 2 weeks, you're going to get my respect. And as much as I don't want to give it, I frankly have to, because good Lord. Number 2, moving up from, I think they were number 3 or number 4 last week, or number 3. It says right there. Duh. I have the New England Patriots. I was the only one that had them in my power rankings last week. Still don't quite know why that was, but Brock kind of admitted his fault on there. Dawson wasn't there to say anything about it. I guess he can kind of give his own 2 cents on the matter. But yeah, man, the Patriots are real. They've just had it going on, and I think the rest of the year, if I had to pick a team that's like, all right, they're going to for sure win 12, 13, 14 games this season. Hello. I think the Patriots are pretty much a shoe-in for it at this point. Just have been taking care of business, and the business rest of the season just looks incredibly easy, like I already mentioned. Number 3, I have the Indianapolis Colts. Kind of scared us there for a second in that Berlin game, but I mean, you took care of business. You were in my top 5 last week. What am I going to knock you down for a win? Maybe you should have beat the Falcons by a few more than you did, but a win's a win. So shout out the Colts. Shout out Jonathan Taylor again. At my number 4 spot, I have, I think for the first time in a while, I know I had them in my top 5 at some point. They dropped out after a couple of, I think after their loss to the Giants in week 6, something along those lines. But I have the Philadelphia Eagles making their return. Ugly game on Monday, but at the end of the day, they won. They've been winning games, and they still have a really talented roster if they can get their talent involved. Again, another team that I think come playoff time, looking at my top 5, I think of these guys here, the Eagles, I unfortunately probably have the most faith to actually win games in the playoffs. So we'll see how the rest of the season unfolds, but I think right there is kind of who I have my faith in come January, February. And then at number 5, a team that I probably maybe should have had in last week. Oop, that's not mine. There it is. I'm not done yapping yet. Put my top 5 back on there. And rounding up said top 5, I have the Denver Broncos. But they started 1-2, and now they've won 7 straight. Again, really ugly win. Almost disqualified them, only beating the Raiders by 3, which, I mean, the Raiders lost to the Chiefs by 50 points, and the Chiefs surely did something against the Bills and then were on bye. Unfortunately, are not making my top 5 this week. We'll see what happens the rest of the year. But why am I talking about the Chiefs? I don't want to talk about them. Let's talk about the Broncos. I mean, we mentioned this a good amount in our coverage of their game. You have questions about their offense, maybe. Do we know how that running game is really going to work with J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey? Have kind of had their ups and downs. Bo Nix, you have questions about. But that defense is just an absolute just unit. Nick Menino firing on all cylinders. Talanoa Hufanga has been pretty well. I don't even know if we've seen much of PS2 recently, but he's still there. Riley Moss has been taking care of business. White corner legend. But yeah, just again, another team. We got a lot of teams this year that have just been taking care of business, and the Broncos have been the definition of that.
For earlier, the last time you've had the Eagles in your power rankings was week 5. So it's been a little while. So
right. And for a team that's only lost 2 games and is coming off of a Super Bowl victory, that says a lot about the parity that we've kind of seen in the NFL this season.
The NFL right now is wide open. And you could name probably 10 different teams that could say they have a shot of making a pretty deep playoff run, which I feel like we haven't been able to say in the past. So I think that's good for the sport, good for the NFL. So, all right, Brock's power rankings are here. Brock, I'm going to just run down them real quick. Brock's not here to obviously give his thoughts on them, but I'll try to summarize the best I can. Brock has the Seahawks at number 1, Also like Braden does. Has the Colts at number 2. Brock's been kind of a big believer in that. He was earlier on the Colts than both Braden and I when the Colts first started winning games. So he has them at number 2. He has the Lions at number 3, the Broncos at number 4, and the New England Patriots at number 5. So, yeah, I won't speak too much more. We don't have Brock's honest thoughts to kind of judge the rankings. So, unless you have any comments on them.
I don't know. I thought I'm thinking of the week before. I thought for some reason the Lions lost that game against the Commanders. They did not.
No, they lost to the Vikings last week, which is what you're probably thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting only having the Patriots at 5. I guess we're unranked. All the teams above them, other than I think he had the Bills at number 1. That did not age well. That's about on par with having the Steelers at number 3 while we recorded an episode with them actively losing in the background. So Brock has not had a great time with our power rankings. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams that you can kind of put stake in having a spot in this top 5, and I'm not mad at the Lions being up here.
Yeah, like I said, you could probably have 9 different teams that have an argument to be in the top 5. So if we did a top 10, it'd be a lot easier for us, but we unfortunately do not. So this will have to do. Here are my power rankings. I had the Eagles at 1 last week. I'm going to keep them at 1. I wasn't able to justify my ranking at number 1 last week. I just really believe in this defense. I like a lot what they got going on. I love the Jalen Phillips move. I think their secondary is playing really well. That front seven's playing pretty well as well. I have questions with the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts passing game, whatever that is anymore. And Saquon doesn't feel like he's 100% back, but the Eagles, they're the defending champs. They're going to get the benefit of the doubt from me over any other team in the league. This is a team I was late on, but they've been playing really well, so you got to give them their flowers. Seattle's not only, like, Sam had, like, a pretty mediocre to pretty, like, bad game on Sunday. Only had 1 touchdown, had 2 fumbles lost, had a pick. Just didn't play great. It didn't matter. I mean, their defense is just unreal. Mike McDonald's got that defense firing on all cylinders. Like, they're forcing turnovers, making plays. DeMarcus Lawrence has looked really well. Like, this defense is, I think the stat I saw is Seattle's the only team in the NFL to be top 5 in points scored and points against, which is a pretty meaningful stat. So I like Seattle at 2. Didn't have the Colts moving at all. I had them at 3 last week, but now I'm at 3 again. If they would have lost the Falcons, who knows where I would have had them on my rankings, but can't penalize them if they win, so they stay at number 3. The Pats look really, really good. Drake May is potentially the MVP front runner right now. Maybe him or Stafford, which I'll get to Stafford in a second. But for a guy being in year 2, good Lord, he's looked unbelievable through, 10 games thus far in the NFL season. The only thing I could knock on the Patriots potentially would just be that, like, their inexperience, like, come the playoffs. But if that's your only, like, knock, because I like some of the receivers, Matt Collins plays well. Stephon Diggs has good games every once in a while. When they get Stevenson back, him and Henderson are going to be a good 1-2 punch. And then, obviously, that defense can be good under Mike Vrabel. So I have the Patriots at 4. And then a team I just don't think we've talked a lot about, over the last few weeks. I don't think any of us have had them in our power rankings in the last, like, at least 2 or 3 weeks. But I have the Los Angeles Rams. They're just kind of, like, sitting quietly at 7-2. Seattle's getting a lot of love, which they should. Like, no one saw this coming from Seattle. But the Rams are, like, Puka missed a game, but, like, this team is still really good. They lost the Eagles earlier this year, and then I'm trying to remember what their other loss was. They lost the Niners on Thursday Night Football.
Yep.
And if they wasn't for Kyron Williams getting stopped on 4th and 1, maybe the Rams are sitting at 8-1. But we'll never know. But
that week, sorry to interrupt, but I just kind of give my testimonial on that one. That week, Kyron Williams got me like 35 points in fantasy week, and he basically gave
Through the
us the
game.
win.
Yeah.
So Kyron Williams is the only good Ram. That's my take.
Yeah, I really like what this Rams defense, Rams offense. Like their D line's looking really good. Jared Verse is a monster off the edge, and then they have, is it Braden Fisk? Is the second year D tackle out of Florida State? They just look really good. It's hard to doubt the Rams right now, especially when Stafford is playing some of the best ball since his first year with the Rams when they ended up making the Super Bowl. So I don't know. They're just kind of lurking around. They're sitting at 7-2. Not a whole lot of media attention, but watch out for the Rams. I think the Rams are poised to make a deep playoff run come February. So that is all we have for Power Rankings Player of the Week. There are some pretty good games to look forward to in Week 11. We have Chiefs Broncos on Sunday. We also have Seahawks Rams at 3 o'clock. It's a Fox game, which can be really good. Sunday Night Football is going to be amazing. It's Lions Eagles. So hopefully that one we score more points since we're watching the Eagles. But are there any games or anything you want to say before we wrap this one up?
I don't. Not really. I mean, trying to look at this schedule, yeah, Bucks Bills would be a pretty good game. Chiefs Broncos, and anytime two AFC West teams not named the Raiders clash is always a pretty good game. Ooh, Rams Seahawks. That might be one that we have a graphic on for sure.
I think Commanders Dolphins could also have a graphic.
That might be the toilet bowl game right there.
Hey, I think Texans Titans might take that one, especially if Davis Mills plays.
Depending on what version of the Panthers we get, Panthers Falcons could be interesting for that regard as well.
Sorry, no. You know the toilet bowl game? It's Monday Night Football this week. Raiders Cowboys.
Oh, I didn't even see that one. Yeah. Oh my dude, what are they doing to us, man?
This is nasty.
Monday Night Football is Cowboys Raiders, and Thursday night is Jets Patriots. Does the NFL care about the product that they're putting on the field right now?
And you know what's so funny is we're probably going to get this deal with YouTube TV resumed next year or two, and we're going to end up
that deal resumed literally like Monday 5 p.m. just in time to watch that absolute
garbage fest. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Bob Iger. Really clutched that one up for us, pal.
That's gross.
Oh my goodness.
If you want our updated game of the week standings, like record wise, I'm sitting at first, 12-9 with a 3-0 week last week. But we have it's getting close to second and third. Brock's sitting at 9-12, going 0 for last week. Braden, after the abysmal start,
I started 0-6.
Is climbed to 8-13.
That's not bad. We take those.
You're one game back from Brock.
Listen, give me a good couple weeks. Give you a couple stinkers. Hey, it's a close race.
Could be. I think that's all we have for this episode. A great episode recapping Week 10, talking about the Brian Daboll firing from the Giants, some of the crazier games that happened Sunday, and then kind of the Monday night, Thursday night stinkers that we unfortunately had to watch. But that's going to be all here on the Between the Hashes podcast on the 515 Podcast Network. For Braden Banking, I'm Dawson Livingston, and we are signing off.